Let's talk about the main events for SummerSlam, Night 1 and Night 2. Welcome to Assemble. My name is Matt. Good to see you. I just got back from the cottage, had a wonderful time, and way too much sun, and I started why I watch SummerSlam from my phone, because that's just how I make it happen. So, with that, I wanted to just talk, rant, riff a little bit about my thoughts overall about the main events. Let's talk about the cash-in, Gunther, Punk, the whole 9 yards with that. The match itself, I loved the match. I thought the match was really well told. I thought it was a good wrestling match, great back and forth. Sometimes with main event matches, I find that sometimes it's a lot of like just smacking in chops. Yes, we got a lot of chops. It's Gunther. It's a Gunther match. There's a lot of chops. But I felt like I got some wrestling in there, and that's what I like. Sometimes it's too much slapping or just like doing like the elbow stuff back and forth. I love this, and particularly love the moment when Gunther got bloody, because it felt like, was it Rocky versus Clubber Lang, and he starts beating him. He finds a weakness, and then Rocky just starts smashing him. That's what it felt like to me, because Gunther rarely, if ever, bleeds, right? Like, he really doesn't. So I thought it was really well executed. The blood just gushing out of him. I didn't think they would get color in that whole thing, but they did, and you have Punk capitalizing on Gunther in that moment. I thought it was just grueling. It was long, but it was a really well-told story. And particularly for me, that the story itself going into the match, it wasn't that like hot. At least for me, I didn't find it that enthralling, engaging, because I felt that we had Punk win the gauntlet match. That was fun. And then you get 3 weeks of promos just going back and forth, jockeying on the microphone. And then that's it. And then we just get the match. And that's okay, because you're just, let's leave it to the match itself and see how it unfolds. And I think they told an excellent story. And that's really what I was hoping for, because we didn't get anything else in the build. So I felt the build wasn't the best, but I felt that in ring, it absolutely delivered. What was interesting for me was that I was leaning towards Punk winning the title. It was kind of my pick. And the Seth cash-in, that was one of my predictions on the channel, was that Seth would cash in. And I still believed the entire time. It's easy to say now because he did it, but I did believe that. I'm like, I mean, maybe he's injured, but you know, it really felt like he was working everybody in a great way. And I thought Punk winning the belt was the right move. It's great to see. It was great to see him just holding the world championship. I thought that was an excellent moment. And then for Seth's music to hit, I thought it was perfect. I thought the cash-in was so well done. Now, they could have done it two ways, right? It could have been a triple threat, and then Seth wins that way, or they did it like they did. I love this because the whole story with Seth and Punk has been Seth not wanting Punk to really win, like in the end, really get that big victory. Yes, he wins the matches and stuff, but to screw him over. He wants to cut him off. He doesn't want him to be fully happy with it. And Punk in that moment has got, he's got the championship, and he feels like he's finally done it. He's climbed to the top of the mountain. And for Seth's music to hit, you could just feel it, and it's taken right out of him. Now, I love what they did with this moment too, because like you saw, you have Seth on the crutches and Heyman out there, and it almost felt like they were setting something up for later, with Seth kind of faking the injury and then throwing the crutches away. So I love that in the moment he came out, because you're like, oh, they're just, maybe for that split second there, it's like, hey, let's just tease them a little bit that he is injured, and it's kind of like, I'll see you down the road when he's all healed up. And you know what? Even if they did that and Seth was legitimately hurt, that still would have been a cool moment, because you would have teased the cash in. And then you're going, okay, they are going to go do Seth and Punk once again, and Punk's going to get a run as world champion. And a couple of layers in here, and as I'm thinking about this, there's a lot more to it as well. So I'll back up for a second. I think it also played into WrestleMania 40, where you had Seth going up against Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest cashes in to become world champion, and Punk was the one who screwed over Drew McIntyre. And I don't know, like, how, and Seth's involved in all of it, right? And Seth was still kind of dealing with Punk. There was just so much all built in there, and then it feels like a little bit of a full circle thing. Right now we're at a point where Punk is the one going for the world title, and Seth gets to screw Punk out of the world title and all of that. So I thought it was just so well done. Punk also held the belt for like 5 minutes, I think, so very close to Drew McIntyre. It's almost like I would want Drew McIntyre back involved in this whole thing, so that Drew can just sit there and just start laughing at him. But to go back to Seth Rollins at the top of the ramp, as he's doing the cash in, he throws the crutches down, and then he makes his way to the ring. He taps the referee and he gets in the ring and get the curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth's the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm recording this right before Monday Night Raw as well. I'm sure that Seth Rollins is going to have something to say, but the intrigue for me is also with Seth's group, with Braun and Bronson. Those guys, they lost against the Mr. Yeet and Roman Reigns. So I said it. And so I'm curious what they do with Braun Breaker. It seemed like he tweaked his leg or his knee or something, because he was all bandaged up when he was out there. And I think there was reports, I haven't looked, I've been gone. So I was hearing that like, oh, Braun might really be injured. I wonder what they do with the whole faction. Now that they've kind of accomplished the goal, which was we want to be able to stop Punk, we want to get the world title. What's next for all of these guys? The cash in itself, though, with Seth, cashing in on Punk, I think is great. And what's interesting, too, is how this story has unfolded for so long now. I have been in the camp a little bit of, okay, we've done the Punk Seth feud. Like, is it time to move on? Who else could they introduce? Is it going to get stale? And Seth getting the world title is a new wrinkle, and I am glad he got it. And I am glad he cashed in like this, and it made it a very fun surprise for fans. Whether people thought and assumed that the cash-in was going to happen or not, they played it out, and it was a really fun way to do an injury angle and also try to continue this whole story and this narrative between Seth and Punk. You got a lot more mileage out of it. I love being surprised in wrestling. That's the best thing. To not know what's going to happen, like Brock Lesnar returning. That's a whole thing we'll talk about in a second. But I love the cash-in. I love that Seth went away, that he did interviews, he talked up his knee injury, said it was inconclusive, all that. They kind of pushed it away, and that was that. Could they have done a little bit better with the faking of the injury? Not with the LA Knight Saturday Night's Main Event. I think that was excellent. Faking it there, that was so well done, especially LA Knight's reaction when the injury went down in the ring. Thought that was awesome. So, and maybe LA Knight never knew. Maybe he really thought Seth was injured. So it's a great way they leaned into it. Could they have taken it one step further? For me, a little bit. They could have maybe even just had footage of Seth going to the doctor in a hospital, in a gurney kind of thing, or talking to the doctor, and they could go through it a little bit. But yeah, the Gunther Punk match, I thought it was excellent. You can rewatch that thing. They tell a great story in the ring, and the cash-in was awesome. Now we have a lot of story, and you have a lot of people coming after Seth. And that's always cool too. You didn't have as many people trying to gun it for Gunther, but you have a lot of people that want to get back at Seth. Jay, Sammy, Punk, they're all in there. Roman, like they all want to get after Seth Rollins. And now he has the title. And I think it does help elevate that title as well, where in some months, maybe you agree or disagree, but they have kind of floundered a little bit with that world title because the undisputed title is that title. Like it's the Cena title, the Cody title. That's always their main focus, and the world titles felt lesser than in some instances. And so with Seth getting it, I think it's a big deal. So speaking of big deal, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. I gotta give you my thoughts though to back up before we get into the match and the post-match with Mr. Lesnar making his big return. Rewind to SmackDown. What the hell was that? And I mean the Cena face turn. Like, I was not expecting that. I really was not. I thought that they would slow burn this face turn for Cena in an organic way to have a blow off, and it was not that. And then going into SummerSlam, did you think that they were going to maybe flip it back? Like Cena was screwing with everybody and he was going to retain the title, and it was all a double cross. I at least thought that was maybe an option they would have done with Cena, but they totally just did that. It was like they did the ending of the story first. That's how I took that promo on SmackDown with him and Cody. Like, Cody puts him through a table the weeks prior, smacks him around, and he's like, I want the old John Cena, like Austin McMahon. I want the old Stone Cold. So Cody just smacks him around, and then Cena comes out and he's just like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm going to be a good guy. It's literally basically what he said. It's just, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to fight you as a good guy and let them cheer me and all that. All in a split second, in one segment, he was fine. Forget about The Rock and all of that and all of the backstabbing and pointing to fans and saying they turned on him and he's going to ruin wrestling, and all of the story that they seemingly were building for a few months since the turn, and where he was even somewhat wrestling with the idea of having to come back to being good, hesitating with the title shots and things of that nature. I was just so thrown for a loop of like, why are you doing this now when this Cody Cena promo totally feels like this is what you would do after SummerSlam, where the two of them get together in the ring on SmackDown afterwards and they say, Cena's like, yeah, you were right. I don't want to do this anymore. That would have made more sense to me, where Cody goes through a street fight with him and just clocks him and just knocks him around to the point where Cena finally feels like he should change and have a change of heart. So didn't love it. I thought it was just it was just off in terms of the story that they were building with him. So then we get the match. I thought the street fight was 10 times better than the match at WrestleMania. With or without Travis Scott, still better. The Mania match versus this one, yes, it's a street fight, different elements, there's weapons in there, they have free range to do kind of anything they want, but between just the matches and how they kind of laid them out, this one felt like it had more urgency, even from the get-go. You know, they hug and whatever at the very beginning of the match, and then they start. And you can even hear Cena muttering to Cody, like, now let's do this. And they just started wailing at each other. I'm like, that's what you want to see. I want to see urgency, and they fight, and they want to get after each other, especially Cody, wanting to get revenge on Cena for everything, wanting to take him to his limit. And Cena totally delivered in this way more than he did at WrestleMania. Watching the WrestleMania 41 match, you feel like it's slow, it's plodding, way too deliberate. Like when he's doing 5 knuckle shuffles and 5 moves of doom, he's just stalling and slow, and it's just too much on top of the Travis Scott and everything else. This match was fun. There were AAs everywhere. Cena just like grabbing Cody and putting him on his shoulders and walking him down to the ring. Like he showed way more strength. He had way more gas in the tank. The near falls, the false finishes, all of it just left me sitting there wanting more of it. And I thought this was a great main event. The only, I guess, caveat issue I would bring with all of this is because of that promo, I felt like they could have done it a different way. And sure, I'm going to armchair quarterback this thing, but as a fan, you're invested in the story since Chamber of Cena and this heel turn, and then as you're a fan watching this, you would think the natural progression of the story would be to have him turn to be a good guy. And we all talked about how there could have been a double turn, Cody becoming a bad guy. No indication of that whatsoever. And I mean, Cody was aggressive in the match, but nothing that would be like he's going dark side. Then they have Cena in this whole thing, and the build to it, he only did like a cowardly segment, the contract signing, and then it was a face turn. I feel like if they changed it, even with the addition of Brock, we'll talk about Brock, but even with that ending with the post match, I think you still could have done it where Cena was heel going into SummerSlam. Maybe in that final promo segment where Cody's like, hey, I want you to be the good Cena. Maybe John is hesitant and he's just kind of like, he's still kind of pushing him away, still negative and heelish, but you could feel that it's like, he's not going all the way with this. And then in the match, why not have Cena become the good guy? Why not do it into the context of the wrestling match where you have John Cena hear the crowd, listen to them, and feel it? And then you see the turn and then the crowd getting into it because this is a long match. And then have it happen the way it happened. Just do the same match. But Cena could almost listen to the crowd more and then turn. It feels like they did the Cena face turn on SmackDown because they found out, they realized or knew that they're going to get Brock on Sunday. And it seemed like Brock's coming in to do this angle and he's going to go fight Cena. So we need Cena as a babyface. Okay, let's turn him on SmackDown, have the face versus face, and then you got Brock, who's going to be the bad guy, take out the babyface John Cena. Still feel like you could have done it in the match itself. And Cena turning that way in the match, fans are that much more invested because they're getting John Cena back, all of that. And then it gets ruined by Brock Lesnar. So then you hate Brock even more, and people hate him so very much. So that's just my opinion. I think you could have done it maybe a different way, because I think that SmackDown promo just threw it off. So then you got Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's music hits. The crowd goes absolutely insane because big pop, something happened at the end of the show. So Brock comes out and he does his thing, and Cowboy Brock once again, and he's so very large. He's such a just earth-shattering man of all things. He comes in, F5, and it's over. What did you think about all of it? And Brock being back. Everyone's going to have an opinion on it. People are going to say, and I've seen it already online, the internet is wild for it. My take is simple. I acknowledge all the bad things about that. And I acknowledge WWE's doing this, and it's going to rub people the wrong way. And he's going to show up, and he's going to have a match with John Cena. What I would like to focus on is the story that they could end up telling. I fully acknowledge and do not like personal situations, legal stuff, all of that over there, the Vince, the Brock, all the allegations, everything. I'm surprised he came back. I'm surprised WWE had him come back, but he's back. So that's the world we live in now. And we can all choose to watch it or not watch it. It is what it is. So if you're going to watch it, then let's see where it goes. I'm interested in the storyline that they're going to tell on television between Cena and Brock. Now you have babyface John Cena, and you have bad guy Brock Lesnar, or seemingly bad guy Brock Lesnar. Does Brock beat Cena? Is this at Clash in Paris? Is this going to be a Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, right before the Royal Rumble is January, so December for his retirement? How are they going to book this thing out? Clearly, this is going to be John Cena's next big opponent, and I think, and I know you guys will be in the comments too with this, so you can help me because I'm dumb and old, but I think Cena has SmackDown appearances coming up post SummerSlam. So I wonder if they're just going to make this a SmackDown program, Brock, Cena. It could just spill over to Raw. Raw's on Netflix. Like, they're going to want, I would assume they want Brock to show up on Netflix, and Cena could cross-brand. I thought their Extreme Rules match many years ago was excellent. It was bloody and, again, physical. And then where do we go from there with Brock Lesnar? Is it a one and done with Cena? Multiple matches. I hope it's not Brock Cena to the retirement. I would hope that they do something where they're like, let's lift somebody new, somebody on the existing roster that's not here for a shorter time, somebody longer term, a Gunther, a Braun Breaker, somebody else, an LA Knight. Like, also LA Knight, should he not go after Seth Rollins? Now that he has title, I'm kind of putting money on Clash in Paris, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, because LA Knight's like, hey, the match ended, dummy. So I want my title match now that you're champion. You faked the whole thing. So you got to figure Brock Lesnar's going to be around for a while, whether people like it or not, which I understand. People will be very unhappy with it because that's such his life. But focusing on the positive and the wrestling, I thought that SummerSlam overall was a good show. I haven't gone through the whole card. If you want that, maybe I'll do a follow-up. But I thought in general, the show delivered. There were some I found weak points, like night one, weak. Steel cage match, not my favorite. There were some things out throughout the two nights that I don't feel like it lived up to what it needed to be. Short build, maybe that didn't help. But what say you? And if you guys like little rants like this, where we just kind of go off and talk for a little bit, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you. And last thing I'll say, I appreciate you if you came by and you hung out for the first time, second time, fifth time, you're a regular, and you leave your comments, and you hung out a little bit with me. I appreciate it. I do this full time. I love doing this and having the conversation and hanging out with you. You get to talk a little bit of wrestling, and not everything has to be just the worst thing in the world is imploding and all of that. There's a lot of that out there already, so we don't need it here. But I like that you came by and you hung out and we talked a little wrestling for a bit. So appreciate you. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. Hope you enjoyed SummerSlam somewhat. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Have a great day. See ya.